Poor versus rich. Josh, I like the setup. You write something on the board I haven't read, and I have to read it. Feels amazing. One less thing that I had to do for messages. I just sat here and you turned the camera on. Poor versus rich.
You need all of your energy devoted to answering the messages.
Josh, when
Not these ancillary things.
No, when I will look that word up later. When I write on the board, I sit there for 20 minutes. I don't want to screw this up. When you write on the board, I don't care what it says. We'll make something out of anything. Let's get to the messages.
Sponsored by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence.
Jordan's messages.
Hello, Jordan, Josh, and Sarah. We really duped them, Josh. We have Sarah on the show for a long time, then she's gone. Then all the messages say Sarah. Then she comes back, and then they all don't say Sarah. We're more
they goes.
Hopefully this is not too juicy for messages. It never is. I'm getting to an age where most people I meet my age have a dating history, as do I. I am 21 and had a boyfriend back when I was 16 and made some mistakes. But I'm completely over that now and learned a lot from it. I don't know if it's anything worth telling a future partner, but I also wouldn't mind it since it was a big part of my journey with God. I also worry about my future partner and the stuff he's might have done in his past relationships and whether I would be okay with it. I have someone in mind, but we are not together or anything. He's 7 years older, so it would be hard to believe he hasn't had more experience in every part of his past relationships. How would you even approach this subject before you're even dating? How important is it to know about a person's past relationship, or should it not matter to me? Help. Josh, see, this is why you just, the first person you're with, just marry them. Just marry them. Just marry them. Because then you don't have to ask me these complicated questions. You think I know the answer to this? I would be in the same boat as you. I don't know how to answer the question because I avoided this situation. I avoided it because I don't know what the answer is. It's a conundrum. It's a conundrum that we as a society, particularly in the United States, we're screwed for this reason.
Literally.
We're literally and figuratively screwed. And we've done it to ourselves and have let other people do it to us.
Oh my gosh.
That's the problem, Josh. I'll have to edit all that out. It's the problem. I have avoided this for a long time, this answer, because like I said, I avoided this problem in my life. So now I'm going to face it head on. What would I have done? I think you need to find that this dude who's 7 years older than you. That's fine, whatever, okay? You guys just have a nice time. But at some point when you realize, okay, this is kind of like maybe getting serious. If it were me, I'm talking to myself here. I think what I would want to do is sit down and be like, hey, let's have a conversation about like our past relationships and what has happened. And if that is uncomfortable to talk about, I think that is a problem. I've met plenty of people in my life who, when I meet them, you can tell that like they've done stuff in their past or whatever, and they own it, they accept it, and they just like, when they're talking about their story, they just talk about this was this weird period in my life, and now now I'm this way now. And I respect that a lot. I respect people who have some kind of like weird past that they've made it through in life. And it makes me respect them more that they're able to like process it and tell me how it's shaped them and how they've like gotten over all that and what they're doing now. I respect that. And I think that you would be probably surprised by what people like forgive you for, or like maybe don't feel like is as big of a deal as you think it might be. And that's a freeing thing. And even if they do think that it's a big deal, like it's still that's like, that's where you just have to say, I gotta own this mistake in my life, and if other, this was the risk that I took. If other people don't want to be a part of that past or whatever, then that's kind of where I'm at. So, I mean, honestly, I would probably talk with the person and I know a lot of people say don't talk to anybody about it. I've heard that. But I think that it's weird, like, if you can't talk about it with somebody, because I don't know, in my mind that means that you haven't talked about it with yourself in a way, and that is what is disturbing. That's what will destroy your life. Not just like will destroy the relationship, it will destroy your life. If you can have the freedom to talk about it with yourself, I think it's actually probably easier or easy to talk about it with somebody else, or it's easy to make that like leap to be like, okay, let's talk about this for the first time in my life.
How could anyone love her after what she did?
They can. That's what I'm saying. They can. It's gonna be okay. I don't want you to walk around with guilt.
And she's projecting. She's like, well, no one can love me for what I did. So how am I supposed to love some older guy with even more experience, no doubt?
I think you need to sit down and have a conversation with yourself. And then just take the leap. Whatever happens, happens. And just have a conversation with somebody else about it. Even if it's not this dude, okay? Even if it's just somebody close to you. Just like talk about it and see what happens.
Show them this messages. This can start the conversation.
This can start the conversation. We've almost hit the end of 2022, if you can believe it, which means that you're running out of time to get started on that passion project you wanted to launch this year. Maybe you don't have it all figured out, and that's okay. But the first step is buying a domain name and starting the website. Like with my podcast, I built the site for my show, the If Then Podcast, using Squarespace, and that's when things started to feel really real. I just finished season 2, and it's great having an online home for the show where people can get caught up on every episode. Check it out at ifthenpodcast.com. Squarespace makes everything simple, from email marketing to video creation with the Squarespace Video Studio app to site analytics. It's all 1 or 2 clicks away and easy to navigate. They have a template no matter what kind of site you want to create, whether it's a blog, portfolio, web store, or whatever else you need. They all look great, and you can customize them to look and do whatever you want. So let me ask you, what kind of project are you ready to start? A podcast like me? Maybe a shop? Whatever it is, it's time to finally build that website you've been putting off. Squarespace helps us run our businesses, and they can help you too. If you want your own space on the web, do it with Squarespace. Head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to our link squarespace.com/cow, because there, you're going to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/cow. Now, let's get back to the messages. Dear Jordan, I'm really scared I have ruined my relationship. My girlfriend and I have been together for a little year. And let's just say, does that mean a little over a year?
A little year.
For a little year. Maybe it was a leap year. No, it wasn't a leap year.
It was one of those little years.
It was one of the little ones. And let's just say we have very different financial situations. My family is definitely considered rich, while my girlfriend's family struggles with money. Her whole life, she has been told if she wants to go to college, she needs to pay for it. And because of this, she has developed a detailed plan in order to have enough money by the time we graduate next year. However, in order to get this money, she's been working 2 jobs, babysitting and volunteering for scholarship applications. I admire her work ethic, but because of this, I never get to see her or spend any time with her, which I really want to do. And when I do see her, I can tell she is exhausted from everything. So I offered to help her pay for college, and she refused to accept help from me or my family, even though we are super willing to help her. But she made it clear we would not accept our money. She would not accept our money. However, it just won't sit right with me that she spends all her time working and won't let me help. So I organized a fundraiser at our church to help her raise money. I thought she would be super grateful to everyone who contributed and happy that she could relax. But when I gave her the money yesterday, she got very mad at me for helping even after she asked me not to, then left. I am very scared that she is going to break up with me now, and I don't know if there is a way for me to fix this, especially when I don't see why what I did was wrong. Any advice you have would be appreciated because I just want to help her. See, people are complicated, Nick. People are very complicated. It's not just like you're thinking of this as just money, poor and rich, money and no money. And that's like the difference is money. When somebody grows up with literally nothing, and you've grown up with like everything, there is such a difference in mentality that she has versus you. It's not just the money, and it goes further than just like, if you guys get married, you will realize that the difference between just even if there was a small difference, and like my family could do more stuff than her family, not just like, oh, I actually am like filthy rich and she literally has zero money. You will realize when you get married just the difference that small shift in like level of things, how it makes the other person view the world entirely different than you. And it's not like a bad thing. It's just is it bad that she doesn't want to accept money from other people because she wants to feel like she has done the work herself? No, that's not a bad thing. Is it kind of extreme though that she won't like take any help from anybody? Yeah, maybe that's a little extreme.
Got some insecurities.
Maybe that, yeah.
I don't need help.
But at the same time, I kind of get it. You don't want to view yourself as the person who needed money from like a church fundraiser. You think, when you think of, you don't want to think of yourself as in terms like that, like, oh, well, I've gotten to this point. Like, you would see yourself a little bit differently, I feel like. Here's the answer. Here's the answer. Let's put it this way. I have gotten to the point in my relationship with Sarah that if something happens, I know exactly what she's going to do, her response, and I know why she's responding the way that she's responding. Like, without a doubt. I know exactly why. When I was in college, I didn't know that at all. Now imagine not knowing that and then being like, hey, here, I'm gonna give you $200,000. and having no concept of who she was. And like not even knowing if we were gonna like get married or something. That's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit of a weird thing to do. So I don't know. I understand like her mentality behind this, but I would spend instead of trying to worry so much about like, hey, I need to give her money so that I can actually learn about her. Maybe you need to learn about her more first, as much as you can, to understand these things. Like, wow, why is it that when I try and donate money to her that she is this way, instead of like kind of getting, a little hurt by it, like why, or you don't understand. I would just try and figure out what makes her tick and why she is this, why she's responding this way, instead of worrying about like not being able to see her as much, and you need to like give her a bunch of money so you can start seeing her more.
She's gonna break up with me. She's not accepting my money.
You need to like try and focus on trying to understand why she reacts the way that she does, than just like the money. And like if she's gonna break up with you.
She's probably just worried that he's looking down on her.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I would stop talking about the money. Stop talking about the money. And just talk to her about like, hey, I'll back off like with the financial stuff, but like I want to understand why it is like, why do you feel this way? Instead of like, and don't come at it like you're insulted that she wouldn't take the church's money or take your money. Just like totally take that off the table. Make her feel like free, that she doesn't have to think about that. And be like, look, I'll back off on this, but like, I want to understand you more. Like, what is it about getting money from somebody else that makes you react to this way? And then you guys will be closer. Like, you can have a good relationship and not see somebody as much. You just have to make that time count when you see them. Poor versus, is it poor and rich? Poor versus rich. Who's gonna win out in this relationship? I don't know. This is a head-on collision course. Maybe they'll merge to medium.
Middle class.
Well, they're both gonna, she's gonna be in a ton of debt. He's not gonna be. And he's gonna dump all the money in debt. Middle class.
Yeah.
Meet in the middle class. Guys, like I said, if you are filthy rich, $7. It's all it is. $7 to get all the messages that you could ever dream of that are hidden from you. And when they just get, you dump $7, unlocked.
Bonus messages. Everywhere.
We're talking episodes for days. Put it on play for days. Support BlimeyCow.com. Don't be messy. and leave good messages.